Welcome to the Hermitcraft Roundup. I'm known as Pixel Riffs, our editor is SloyXP, subtitles on this episode were done by Liara. And if this intro feels odd to you, you can imagine how Cubfan feels now that his base was moved 10 centimeters over. For more details on this, you'll have to wait for the IJevin part of today's recap, but in the meantime, do let us know in the comments if it really is Scar's birthday, because we truly don't know who to trust anymore. I mean, they celebrated it on the server, but they did that a few months ago as well. What we can tell you for sure is that the Metro Mayhem episodes are on hold now that the minigame has finished its Season 1 and is down for Metro maintenance. Cubfan135 walks away with the trophy, beating Etho by only 2 nuggets, or 2 hugs if you believe the typo in the scorebook.
We ended up in first place by just 2 nuggets over Etho. Pretty close to optimal runs here.
And with that out of the way, let's dig into one of the more deceitful weeks on the Hermitcraft server. The only other thing I know for real is there will be blood shed. Beginning with Tango Tech, who is remarkably straightforward this week, ignoring the part where Scar's birthday party crashes into his episode. Admittedly, Tango crashed the party first.
Surprise! Oh, thank you guys. That was all very nice, dude. I was just about to head out the door. I'm so glad I hadn't already left.
Aside from the festive picnic, Tango's video is dedicated to the expansion of the newest Tangler minigame. Just to remind you, this is the one that's a Saw movie but in Minecraft.
It just felt like the right thing to do.
This week, however, Tango has taught it to speak, which is certainly a choice.
I'm gonna give you the full answer here, but
the first puzzle item,
and then it just stops.
Not like this server is particularly fond of doing what they're told, but here the situation is worsened, as only one player at a time will hear the hint, so people will have to really communicate to get out of this friendship ender. What's especially interesting here is that the solutions are procedurally generated, because this man is a wizard and can form redstone into logical gates you can't even imagine. That's how, for example, he can pull the whole puzzle from the game Blueprints, where there's 3 boxes and at least one of them tells the truth. If only the players could figure out which one the gems are in, maybe they can draft themselves a room with a fox, a goose, and a bag of grain.
Now, the interesting thing, though, to stick with the audio thing, when you press the black button here, you're only going to be able to hear that clue in this room, which would be false. Right? Wait, I'm getting confused. This is going to be so hard. They're going to get stuck on this.
Skizzleman's pyramid now seems like a warm-up round for this level of lateral thinking, especially since he realizes this week that he left people in a blue void without the exit rows clearly marked.
Well, dang it, I blew it. They weren't really, well, actually, that was perfect. That's what we're going for, but.
Although in False Symmetry's case, even dying on the way down the pyramid's exterior didn't lead to her losing the book. Skiz has many people to award his trophy banners to for successfully self-actualizing, and between those, he sandwiches a meaty post-commentated run of Metro Mayhem, which earns him a trophy of his own. Impulse drops by to award him the 2 pizza cup for achieving a sub-12 stack time.
But I still got to put another one up there.
Oh man, my OCD is just...
Is it not centered? Not centered? Let me... Oh, I don't like it either.
With his trophy cabinet updated, Skiz hatches a plan to prank a few people's bases as well, taking a noise Tango made in a past life. Sorry, the Past Life series, but I guess you can't prove he didn't also make this noise in a previous incarnation. Skiz attaches it to a note block, and Skulk senses up a few players' storage systems, meaning anytime they open a chest, the experience will sound at least 50% more sarcastic.
God, I gotta calibrate this instantly. Ah, they're making me nuts!
The rest of the furniture, however, might have been fiddled with by IJevin, as unable or unwilling to gatekeep or girl boss, he opts to try and gaslight his server mates.
And I've decided, normally when you do pranks, you gotta hide them. Nah, not today. Going full send, but I got a plan.
His idea is to try and uncanny valley people out of their own bases, which should be easy given one of his ideas is to add his own face to the villager gothic painting at Cubfan's house. But not all of his shenanigans are as obvious. For example, in Azuma's base, Jevin just swaps all the diamond block displays for light blue wool, or changes the way a door is placed in Rendogs. That would be enough to mess with the guy's routine, mind you. He did not have to repaint the armor of the giant statue Ren has as the centerpiece. That's almost subtle compared to how he replaces Corrales' face with XB Crafted's own one for the famous Getting Guardian laser display, or turns Joel Smallish Beans into a giant gorilla. Perhaps it was the beast that was the beauty.
Oh god. Dude, I'm having way too much fun today.
For what it's worth, XB Crafted either hasn't noticed yet, or was recording ahead of iJevin's video as he time-lapsed the tunnel into which his railway car will disappear. And despite it not extending out into the surrounding ocean, the glass effect really does make it look like it's vanishing into the darkness.
It's nice to have those buffs, like some regen and some speed and, all that kind of good stuff. So I gotta figure out how to add that here.
Ironically, XB is unable to return to the subway tunnels elsewhere, as Metro Mayhem is now down for maintenance by the time he returns to it. So after time-lapsing a giant hoop to finish off the train car diorama, he heads back to the basketball court to see if anyone's managed to beat his full-length high score, sees another record he can claim for the buffs allowed variant of the game, and immediately starts posting threes.
Oh, baby, look at that. First try.
But while the power of 3 might set you free, the power of 4 will make you soar, as Cubfan finds out when he has to transport 4 witch sisters to the center of his Skulkin home and pin the whole thing on a spell gone wrong.
What is actually causing this? I've never really discussed this too much, but the cause of this is actually a family of witches.
Try as we might to make this into a Charmed reference, Cub's actual lore is that the magic women of the Stuck in a Pit coven have cursed the world with Skulk as a way to test the full power of their magic. So Cub has to test the power of the flex tape when he glues their boats together and then to a happy ghast so he can transport the whole bunch to their new purple homes.
Yeah, we got him! And a goat. The goat just wandered in. That's amazing. Okay.
What's funny here is that these witches were transformed by lightning, as they originally were just some villagers stuck in a dirt box in hypnotized backyard. It's somehow on theme for Joe Hills this week, because not only does he have the welfare of the Holmdale horses on his mind as he fixes up the stables, he also finds a surprising amount of cows under the nearby road, which might be the first time beef has been used as a paving material.
Maybe we have more of a driveway style path, so the cows stop wandering into the horse area.
Joe elevates his ideas for the stable with a second floor to house a nether landscape for happy ghasts to frolic in, although he wisely decides on a water pool instead of lava since the happy ghasts aren't immune to hot sauce. In the meantime, he drops in on Azuma's pixel art plot while the man himself is drawing a Bulbasaur, and X gets a quick tour of the museum exhibits Joe has completed so far.
Took me a minute. As I'm walking over, I'm like, what blocks are those? Wait a minute, what is this? That's so good.
He also preempts the next exhibit Joe plans, which is about microwaves, a sign that you should always let him cook.
This is maybe not perfect, but I think it is better than it was.
Before that, though, Joe finishes the roof of the Welcome Center, although the unwelcome surprise comes when he takes a look at the new curvature of the roof from slightly too close up.
That one looked deadly. Not ideal.
And finally, there's Mumbo, who, like all good passengers on the London Underground, has realized he needs to mind the gap.
There is potential that I could actually fill this space in here.
The composition of Mumbo's base currently relies heavily on Joel Smallish Beans having been such a prolific builder, but Mumbo thinks there's probably room for him to build one thing just there. So given that his supercomputer is basically finished and emotionally capable, Mumbo decides it's time to build a way to communicate with it. The conclusion he comes to will no doubt delight another YouTube hobbyist subculture. He builds a mechanical keyboard. Using a chest as an input and a system of item filters to decode the various letters he could input, he rigs some trapdoors to display the letters in the order they are input.
Oh, and I've just realized we could pre-program messages, so I could make it so that not only can you send messages into the message board, but also the machine could have pre-programmed messages that are randomized.
This all gets designed in Creative, where he points out how excited he's been about copper golems lately. All I'm saying is wait until this man gets hold of shelves. Anyway, back on Hermitcraft, he has to map things out because the resulting design is quite large, but his chosen solution of building a cliff to hide it under fits well into the landscape. And he admits to his W's not being the most obvious, but we know for certain that this isn't actually his first L. And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is SloyXP and my name is Pixel Riffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.